An Air India 787 crashed and exploded today, moments after taking off from western India on a flight to London.
There were 230 passengers on board and a crew of 12. The airline says every one of them was killed. Everyone but the man in seat 11A, a window seat in an exit row. Incredibly, we're told, he survived.
He's in the hospital, and he's quoted as saying the plane split in two and he was thrown out before it exploded. There are apparently casualties on the ground as well. Part of the plane hit a building.
Among the many questions tonight, why did the Boeing Dreamliner crash, and how did that one passenger manage to walk away? Senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve joins us now with the latest. Chris?
Investigators are going to be poring over dramatic and compelling, but also disturbing video we're about to show you, looking for any clues as to what went wrong during this plane's approximately 1 minute long flight. Air India Flight 171 took off from Ahmedabad, a city of 8 million people, just before 2 in the afternoon. It would be a short and deadly flight. The Boeing 787 was headed for London's Gatwick Airport with 242 on board. The plane struggled to gain altitude and then sank towards the ground. Loaded with fuel, the 787 Dreamliner crashed into a neighborhood just beyond the airport. Air India CEO Campbell Wilson.
I would like to express our deep sorrow about this event. This is a difficult day for all of us at Air India.
According to the airline, everyone on board was killed except for one man who somehow escaped. His family is waiting for him in London, among them his cousin, AJ Balji.
The world is upset about this. Everyone is upset.
The plane crashed into a building housing medical students. Rescuers are hunting through the wreckage for survivors. So far, it's unknown how many on the ground were killed.
I'm totally shaken by the incident that has happened today.
India's civil aviation minister promised to find answers.
We are going to do a fair and thorough investigation. We are not going to spare anyone. We are not going to leave any stone unturned.
The nearly 12-year-old aircraft had logged more than 41,000 flight hours. This is the first crash of the Dreamliner since entering service in 2011. More than 1,100 Dreamliners are currently flying, and airlines have nearly 1,000 more on order. Captain Ross Amer was a simulator pilot during its development.
I consider it one crash all these years with a number of airplanes flying every day. I still consider it very safe aircraft.
Boeing CEO says the company stands ready to assist the investigation. This crash comes as Boeing has been trying to turn the corner after a series of high-profile accidents and production problems. In this case, this was not a new airplane, but one that had been in service for years.
Chris Van Cleve, thank you.
जिंदगी में हमेशा उन लोगों का चुनाव करें जिनको इज्जत देने पर वो खुद से बढ़कर आपको इज्जत दे। यही बेहतरीन लोगों की निशानी है।
अभी कल ही अहमदाबाद में एयर इंडिया का जो प्लेन क्रैश हुआ है उसमें हुआ यह था कि लंदन जाने के लिए दोपहर 1:38 पर सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट के रनवे नंबर 23 से फ्लाइट ने उड़ान भरी। उड़ान भरने के बाद एयरक्राफ्ट लगभग 625 फीट तक की ऊंचाई पकड़ चुका था, पर तभी प्लेन में कुछ ऐसा हुआ कि पायलट्स को एटीसी को इमरजेंसी मेडे कॉल करना पड़ा। प्रोफेसर ऑफ हाउ को फॉलो करके 3D एनिमेशन की मदद से इस बात को समझो कि मेडे एक इमरजेंसी का सिग्नल होता है जो पायलट रेडियो पर देता है जब प्लेन में कुछ खतरनाक प्रॉब्लम हो। इसके तुरंत बाद ही 475 फीट पर मिनट की स्पीड से ये एरोप्लेन नीचे की तरफ जाने लगा। एयर ट्रैफिक कंट्रोल से इसका कांटेक्ट अचानक पूरी तरह खत्म हो गया और एयरपोर्ट के थोड़ा सा आगे जो मेघानी नगर रेसिडेंशियल एरिया है वहां जाकर खतरनाक क्रैश लैंडिंग कर गया। बदकिस्मती ये रही कि प्लेन जस्ट लंदन के लिए उड़ा ही था और फ्यूल इसमें फुल भरा पड़ा था। इसी कारण से क्रैश लैंडिंग होते ही ऐसा जोर का ब्लास्ट हुआ कि अंदर बैठे हुए बेचारे पैसेंजर्स और ग्राउंड पे आसपास मौजूद लोग बुरी तरह आग में झुलसकर मर गए। प्लेन एयरपोर्ट की बाउंड्री से बहुत ज्यादा दूर नहीं जा पाया था और बताया जा रहा है कि ये एयर इंडिया फ्लाइट मेडिकल कॉलेज हॉस्टल के ऊपर जाकर क्रैश हुई, जहां ऑलरेडी 50-60 इंटर्न डॉक्टर्स मौजूद थे। इस हादसे में इतने ज्यादा लोगों ने अपनी जान गंवाई है। इन अथॉरिटीज के "हमें दुख है" वाले मैसेजेस के बहकावे में मत आना, प्रेशर बना के रखो, इन्हें जवाब देना पड़ेगा कि किसकी गलती थी।
We are at the airport, just boarding. Goodbye, India.
Goodbye.
Thank
10-hour flight back to England.
What's your biggest takeaway, Jamie?
We've done this already.
On a different thing.
Oh, right. What's my biggest takeaway? I don't know.
Yeah, fascinating. Great. Thanks. Thanks for your contribution. Okay. Yeah, my biggest takeaway is don't lose your patience with your partner.
Yeah, you're already starting.
Horrifying scenes in India. Huge plumes of smoke rising over the western city of Ahmedabad. Air India Flight 171, bound for London Gatwick, disappeared from radar within seconds of departure. Eyewitnesses say the jet plunged and erupted into flames, with 242 people on board. Flight tracking data shows the Boeing 787 lost signal at 625 feet, less than a minute after takeoff.
This is a Boeing 787. This will be the first accident involving a 787, and it just celebrated 1 billion passengers carried safely over 11 years. It's basically had a flawless record. Up till today, no passenger has been lost on this Boeing 787.
Its safety record, until today, virtually spotless. The crash site near a heavily populated area now swarming with emergency teams. India's civil aviation minister says all agencies are on high alert, coordinating rescue and recovery. Gatwick Airport, where Flight 171 was supposed to land, confirmed the incident. Instead of welcoming loved ones, families there are now contacting Air India's emergency support center.
No one noticed the strange last words left by aircraft passenger Akash Vacha before his death. In fact, these are the key evidences related to the truth of the Indian plane crash. A passenger plane in India carrying 242 passengers suddenly crashed. Shockingly, it crashed less than 1 minute after takeoff. The mysterious last words of a passenger on the plane became the key evidence to uncover the truth of the accident. Passenger Akash Vacha shared a video claiming that some electrical devices on the plane he was on, including air conditioners and TV screens, failed to work properly several hours before the crash. In the hot weather at that time, he could only fan himself with a magazine. What's more shocking is that the complete paralysis of the aircraft system directly led to insufficient lift, making it difficult to complete a normal takeoff. However, the plane still insisted on taking off, eventually leading to the tragedy. In fact, Air India is the worst among all airlines. Many people say that Air India's planes are dirty, broken, and unattended, and they have never met safety standards. Even this plane was still under maintenance during the inspection cycle. It can be seen that these are the truths behind the plane crash.
We are getting some brand new CCTV footage that shows the full takeoff. We're seeing this for the first time.
It's a routine takeoff by all accounts, although I don't see evidence there that the flaps would be at the 5 or 10 degree setting, depending on the situation. But what I don't see, which was something we were, been thinking about as pilots, is could this have been yet another bird strike scenario where they lost both engines? But I don't see birds, and I don't see a flame out from either of those General Electric engines. So it did not appear to be any sort of catastrophic engine failure. To have two engines fail is unusual. So we're back to an aircraft that took off with what appears to be not the proper takeoff configuration, which is there's all kinds of systems and checks and balances and warnings which would indicate that that was not the case to the crew.
We are at the airport, just boarding. Goodbye, India.
Goodbye.
Thank
10-hour flight back to England.
What's your biggest takeaway, Jamie?
We've done this already.
On a different thing.
Oh, right. What's my biggest takeaway? I don't know.
Yeah, fascinating. Great. Thanks. Thanks for your contribution. Okay. Yeah, my biggest takeaway is don't lose your patience with your partner.
Yeah, you're already starting to. You've already snapped at me while we're having chai at the airport. You see, you've learnt nothing.
Going back happily calm.
No one realized that the last video recorded by the passengers before their death reveals the terrifying truth behind the Air India plane crash. In fact, this deadly tragedy could have been avoided. These three eerie signs reveal the truth behind the deaths of 242 people. First, the plane was severely outdated. In the video recorded by passengers, many things inside the plane were broken, including the lighting, air conditioning, touchscreens, etc. The plane had been flying for over 10 years. Clearly, the airline had neglected the inspection and maintenance of the aircraft. Secondly, the plane appeared to struggle during ascent. The plane's maximum altitude is 625 feet, but the airport's elevation is about 200 feet. From the video of the flight, it seems that this was caused by the flaps not being deployed. Some speculate that it was caused by a dual engine failure, while others say it was pilot error. Finally, someone was filming just before the plane crashed, at the right time and place, and the person filming was remarkably calm. This sends a chill down the spine. Many began to suspect that this wasn't a coincidence, but rather premeditated. Preliminary data shows that the plane lost signal less than a minute after taking off from the airport. It's unimaginable how desperate the victims must have been at that moment.
AC is not working. Look at everyone. So many people, they are using these magazines. AC is not working at all. And as usual, your TV screens are also not working. Neither this button for calling the cabin crew. Nothing is working. Nothing. Not even the light is working. See, this is what you are providing. And as usual, that is why Air India is considered as one of the worst airlines in the world.
This is the moment captured on security cameras when Air India Flight 171 took off from Ahmedabad for the 9.5-hour flight to London. But seconds later, the Boeing 787 starts slowing. The two pilots on board issued a mayday call, but it was too late. The plane crashes with 242 people on board, careening into accommodation buildings used by medical students, bursting into an inferno. Miraculously, a British man, Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, walked away from the crash. His brother in England described the moment the family heard from him.
He video called my dad. As he crashed, he said, "Our plane's crashed. I don't know how I'm alive, how I exited the plane. This is a miracle he survived."
This is India's worst aviation disaster in over 25 years.
Here at the crash site, forensic teams are on the scene, officials are arriving, ambulances are here. We're getting reports that there are multiple pieces of body parts littered throughout the wreckage and that it will take DNA testing to know the final death count. Any comment from Air India at this stage? Anything that you would like to say to the families of the victims?
This family begged authorities for access to the site. Ravi Thakur hasn't heard from his mother, who served food at the hostel which the plane crashed into. She was caring for his 2-year-old daughter. Both are missing.
How are you coping?
He tells me, we have only one hope, that they survive.
I came across this post. A heartbreaking tragedy struck yesterday when a plane departing from India en route to London crashed just 5 minutes after takeoff, slamming into a residential building. Among the victims was a family of 5, a husband, wife, their twin daughters, and their son, all of whom lost their lives in an instant. Reading about the crash sent chills down my spine. When my husband told me our flight from London to Melbourne would take 23 hours, fear gripped me. The thought of such a long journey, especially with my entire family on board, filled me with anxiety. I couldn't shake the feeling of dread. Throughout the flight, I couldn't sleep, not even during the night. I prayed fervently before takeoff, while in the air, and especially during the more than 3 hours of turbulence. The crew instructed us to stay seated with our seatbelts fastened due to poor weather conditions, and my mind ran wild with fear. The 13-hour stretch from Qatar to Melbourne felt like the longest, most terrifying experience of my life. And when we finally landed safely, I dropped to my knees and thanked God for his protection and mercy. What happened yesterday is a sobering reminder. Entire families like that family of 5, a newlywed couple, and so many others lost their lives in a moment. I cried for them, even though I never knew them. If you've ever made it safely to your destination, never take it for granted. Say a prayer of gratitude. Life is fragile, and every safe journey is a blessing.
My thoughts after reading that post. People see things differently in life. You may feel being here is a blessing, but to some people, being here on earth is something they hate. People are in different levels in life. Some are sick, in pain in hospital beds. Some have diseases. Some are being tortured. Some are being raped. Some have no food. Some are homeless. If you feel grateful, do something about making this world a better place. This world has a lot going on. From the individual who services the killer plane to you stepping your feet in the plane, we are all connected. When you fight someone on social media without thinking, you are causing unrest without knowing who these people are. Always think before you snipe. Make this world a better place by blessing people. You can just say a prayer instead of insulting someone, because you do not know who this person is. People feel entitled a lot. Just because you think you know doesn't make you entitled. We all are here, and we all are connected spiritually. As we gather here on this post, someone is born and someone just died. Life is a mystery. It doesn't mean because you did a prayer is the reason you arrived safely. No, the clock continues to tick, and when it stops ticking for you, that will be it. Let's us not think God is one-sided, because in that plane, someone surely prayed ahead of time, but lo, time stopped ticking for them on the planet. We are not special. Our time just didn't stop. We are all making steps towards this clock, so just remember that every step you make, it is towards this clock, and when it stops, it stops. Always be nice to people and watch your actions.
So we now have a video of the entire takeoff for Air India Flight 171. This is from a CCTV camera at the airport. So here it begins rotating behind this little shack. It does appear that its nose stays in the air maybe slightly longer than normal, although this is all just speculation at this point. There it is off the ground. Initially looks okay, and then by this point, you can tell that the plane is definitely not climbing as it should. And then here, it sadly begins descending. Banks slightly right, slightly left. AOA keeps increasing. And then finally, and tragically, into the ground. If you see anything in this video that I didn't mention, you noticed anything, please let us know in the comments. Again, I'll be uploading videos on this all day. Follow to stay informed.